if you were a kid or a teenager or a young adult watching Star Trek in the 60s, and now not only are you watching Star Trek Return, it's been 10 years, the characters are a little bit older. It's got the big budget of a major Hollywood studio film. And, even talking to my dad about it, he was saying, he's like, it was such a big deal because now instead of the low budget TV series version, the CW, version of Star Trek, we're going to get the big boys, the Hollywood guys involved. And you could tell. In fact, when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, man, you could really tell they're really showing off in Star Trek the Motion Picture. Like, this is a feature film. I mean, the title is the motion picture. They couldn't even come up with something creative about the plot line like a title's supposed to. It's like, nope, this is Star Trek the Motion Picture. So they were very...
Well, it might have been it. I mean, you didn't know there was going to be more. So this is just Star Trek is the motion picture.
True. Yeah, this is the one standalone. This is our one shot. But yeah, you're right. It's just that they were making such a contrast so self-consciously that this is the motion picture version of Star Trek. And they show off all the ships. They take their time with it all. Like they really are self-aware of that. And honestly, I kind of appreciate it because it gives me a chance to try to put myself into the mindset. Like I wasn't around in the 60s. That wasn't my generation. I grew up with the Kirk from the movies. So it's fun when I watch the motion picture because it gives me that rare chance to pretend what would it be like to have seen the series and pretend like I'm watching this for the first time, with fresh eyes. What would it be like? And when you do that, you could kind of see all the little callbacks for you, like all the little treats they gave you.
Well, that's why I think that, the historical context is so important.
Yes.
Like what are you watching?
Totally agree.
Yeah. So this is definitely a movie where it's going to take its time. And it has no problem with that.
One of the complaints, one of the most common complaints is that pacing.
But it's faster than 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I think.
Although that's not.
I think watching Snail's Race is faster than 2001. But all of it's intentional. It's up to the filmmaker and what they're trying to do. 2001 was slow specifically because the filmmaker wanted to create a sense that humanity had become automated and soulless and unenthusiastic and unemotional and detached and all those slow shots. It's that even pace. He did that on purpose so that in the end, when David Bowman is threatened and with a survival situation, everything comes to life again. He's moving faster. The scenes are quicker. So there's a conscious choice on the part of the filmmaker to do that intentionally. I think it's a big risk to say, I'm going to try to make this really boring pace-wise for the big payoff at the end. That's a big risk, I would say. But I don't think to your point, I don't think Star Trek the Motion Picture had that level of slowness to it by any stretch. I think we all know the stretches we're talking about where there was really long sequences inside V'ger. But even now that I know what Star Trek the Motion Picture is, I can appreciate even those scenes. Like it just doesn't bother me.
I can too. Although I was also reading in the director or watching the directors, it's not actually the directors, but the commentary on that a lot of those scenes were not edited because they came in so late. So it's possible that they would have been, but they came in so late, there was no time to edit. And so they were dropped in to where they needed to go.
And you know what? I bet they were the most expensive shots. So they're like, do we need to edit them? They're like, no way, man.
We got no time. So let's the care that was taken with, I would have loved to have worked on that movie. Now I love the Wrath of Khan. We'll do the Wrath of Khan next. And that's really my Star Trek because I love the uniforms and the Enterprise look and all that. But I think of all so that would be a reason to work on those. But when I'm listening to the care that they took on this film, it just seems like it must have been just an amazing experience that I would love to have. And I don't think you will ever get. We'll never get those kinds of experiences again.
And there's a lot of love built into it. The more you watch it and study it and unpack it, the more you, like you just said, you find all the loves in there. I mean, the filmmakers, the except the uniforms. I don't know if they really misfired there. But
the uniforms are weird.
But when I was a kid, I used to make models with my dad. And we bought the Klingon battle cruiser. And that was what we did, like space shuttles and stuff. But we did the Klingon battle cruiser. I remember we glued it all together. We painted it. And I was really proud of it because, it's a pretty distinctive looking ship from the beginning of Star Trek the Motion Picture. And my buddy had a camcorder. And I was like, can you steal the camcorder from your dad and I have the model ship. So what we did is we took black construction paper and filled up the corner of a room and used fishing wire to hang the Klingon battle cruiser. We played the Klingon music and we replicated the shot where it goes over the top and twists and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
The motion picture. I love the opening of Star Trek: The Motion Picture, not the overture that lasts 5 minutes, but the opening shot of the Klingons in battle formation coming at the cloud and just totally failing. Like it's a total fail on the part of the mighty Klingons, who we're supposed to be afraid of. It's a rather brilliant opening by the filmmakers because they're like, remember the Klingons? Remember how militant and scary they were? Yeah, they're batted aside by this thing
this thing. Yeah, that was an amazing shot. Yes. I had one of those too. I built those as well. Like Tomocrat was saying that the refit Enterprise was always my favorite. I had an Enterprise refit model, and I had them hanging up, and I hung them up in my room, like you're talking about, breaking the same kinds of things. I had the Star Trek corner, I had the Star Wars corner, I had the modern shuttle corner, but yeah, I had the Enterprise with the Klingons fighting and stuff like that. Because that's okay. So it starts with the attack on the Klingons.
Yeah,
talking about what ends with the story. And actually, for a long time, whenever like my dad wanted to show off a new sound system for watching, in his home theater or whatever,
yeah,
he would always show it off with that sequence.
Really,
sit right in the middle, and then watch that opening scene with the Klingons. With the music and everything like that. The music they want to do so much with music in general in this film.
So
much is done with music.
I wanted to take a second and talk about Jerry Goldsmith's soundtrack to Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It is absolutely phenomenal. And it's one of my all-time favorite soundtracks. And it gets better every year. I ended up buying the expanded version. There's even in the I bought the vinyl expanded version. It's really cool because they have all the music from the movie, including small little 58-second, clips that never made it onto a soundtrack. And there's even I can't believe I like listening to this, but I do. It's the first time that the symphony orchestra got together to play the opening theme, the main title. So on the record, it has all the musicians kind of warming up a little bit and talking to each other. And then they all get quiet. He's like, all right. So, and he's talking about the beat and the tempo that he wants. And then they do it. And it's about perfect, but you can tell it's a little different. And then at one point they stop and they reset and then they do it again. I love it. It's like sitting in the auditorium in 1978 or 79, whenever they recorded it, to listen to the symphony orchestra play this for the first time. I absolutely love it.
That is pretty.
And the Klingon music to the scene you were just talking about, your dad liked to play. That music is so distinctive with the wood blocks and everything. It is the type of music that I love playing loud. And there's a part of the music that is my favorite. It's when the two Klingon ships are annihilated. They're electro disintegrated. And the two Klingons, they lean forward and they're looking like, what the hell? And then the music gets really quiet. And then it gets super loud, like the ultimate like Klingon march. And the ship's coming right at you, like in full retreat, like get out of here. And I just love that. I love seeing the Klingons take the threat so seriously that they're panicking and trying to get the hell out of there while the Klingon march is like at its height. It's great. I love it. I love the music in this movie.